So today, we're going to dive into the epic saga of a sacred building, its golden age, its complete and utter destruction, the void it left, and its incredible rebirth. Let's get into this amazing story of ruin and renewal. And you know, this is more than just a history question. It really gets to the heart of identity, of faith, and of sheer survival. The story of Solomon's temple is the story of a people who were forced to answer that very question after a catastrophe designed to wipe them off the map. All right, so here's our roadmap. We're going to walk through 5 key moments, starting with the temple's glory days, then its tragic fall. We'll see an unexpected lifeline from a new empire, watch the birth of a second temple, and then, well, we'll see a haunting echo of its past. So let's start at the very beginning, at the absolute height of power. We're talking about a time of peace and prosperity for the ancient kingdom of Israel that was really unparalleled, and it was all centered around one magnificent building. So the first temple, also known as Beit Salomo, look, this was way more than just a building. It was the anchor of the entire kingdom. Finished up around the mid-10th century BCE, it was this massive undertaking that became the one single, undisputed center for Israelite worship and their national identity. And this is what makes it all possible. King Solomon's reign, man, it was a true golden age. The kingdom had control over these vital trade routes, they were forging powerful alliances, and they were bringing in luxury goods like you wouldn't believe. It's this wealth and this stability that made a project as huge as the temple even conceivable. It really was a symbol of their power. So for almost 400 years, the temple stood strong. But you know how it goes. Empires rise and empires fall. Now we have to shift to the tragic part of the story, the arrival of a new superpower, the Neo-Babylonian Empire, and the complete destruction of Solomon's legacy. And when the end came, it was fast and it was brutal. After a really punishing siege, the Babylonian king Nebuchadnezzar II finally broke through Jerusalem's walls. Then, in the catastrophic year of 586 BCE, the unthinkable happened. The temple was looted, burned, and totally destroyed. And the kingdom's elite, the leaders, the artists, the thinkers, were all forced to march into exile. And here's the thing you really got to understand. This wasn't an accident of war. This wasn't collateral damage. No, this was a calculated political move. By destroying the temple, Babylon wasn't just conquering a city, they were trying to snuff out the very identity of the Jewish people by taking away their spiritual center of gravity. So what happens next? Well, this slide shows it perfectly. When your temple is gone, how does your faith even survive? It has to adapt. For the next 50, maybe 70 years, while in exile in Babylon, worship completely transformed. The focus shifted from a physical place and rituals to practices you could take with you, studying sacred texts, observing the Sabbath, things like that. Suddenly, faith wasn't a place you went to, it was something you carried with you. So, decades go by. The exiles are in Babylon, trying to hold on to their identity, but the temple in Jerusalem is still just a pile of rocks. And then the whole political map of the world shifts again, and hope shows up from the last place anyone expected. The year is 538 BCE, and everything is about to change. The powerful Babylonian Empire, it falls, and a new player enters the game, the Achaemenid Empire of Persia, led by a king who is about to change Jewish history forever. This right here is the game changer. Cyrus the Great issues this revolutionary decree. See, Cyrus was different. Most conquerors would crush or absorb the people they defeated, not Cyrus. His policy was to restore people and their religions. He didn't just let the Jews return home. He actively encouraged them to rebuild their temple and even offered to help pay for it.
Okay, so getting permission to go home and rebuild is one thing. Actually doing it? That's a whole different story. This was going to be a long, tough journey, full of setbacks, opposition, and a real need for some serious inspiration.
And it was definitely not a straight line. I mean, look at these steps. They go back, they lay the foundation, full of excitement, but right away they run into fierce opposition from their neighbors, and the whole project just grinds to a halt for years. It actually took the fiery words of the prophets Haggai and Zechariah to get everyone motivated again, and then, finally, in 516 BCE, more than 20 years after they first came back, the Second Temple was finished. And with that, the Second Temple period officially begins. A whole new chapter that's going to last for nearly 600 years. Now, some of the elders who remembered Solomon's original temple actually wept because this new one seemed so modest in comparison. But the prophet Haggai, he promised that the glory of this second house would be even greater than the first. And you know what? In a way, that prophecy totally came true. Centuries later, around 20 BCE, King Herod the Great, who was an absolute master builder, launched a colossal renovation project. He turned the Second Temple into one of the most magnificent architectural wonders of the entire ancient world. So, this incredible Second Temple becomes the center of Jewish life for hundreds of years through Persian rule, Greek rule, and now Roman rule. But history, well, it has this tragic way of rhyming. It was about to happen all over again. 70 AD, it's just a number on a screen. But this year is another one of those dates that gets burned into history, marking a catastrophe that would once again change everything for the Jewish world. It all went down after a major rebellion against the Roman Empire. Just like the Babylonians centuries before them, the Roman legions surrounded Jerusalem, and once again, the city fell. And the Grand Temple, the one Herod had built into a masterpiece, was completely destroyed. So let's take a breath and recap. What are the big takeaways from this huge, sweeping story? First, you have the First Temple, a symbol of a golden age whose destruction forces this incredible evolution in faith. Then you see the amazing resilience of a people who, with help from a foreign power, rebuild their sacred center. And finally, you see this devastating cycle of history repeat itself as a second empire tears it all down again. And that leaves us with one final really powerful question to think about. After being destroyed not once, but twice, how has this single location, the Temple Mount, managed to keep such a powerful hold on the spiritual and political imagination of billions? How does it remain a focal point of so much hope, so much sorrow, and so much conflict, right up to this very day?